This is my story aboard the girl in my dreams. Every month, she always appeared in a different dress, with a different face, but I'm sure it's her. Even when her eyes changed shape or her voice took on a new tone, something in me always recognized her. She'd smile like she remembered everything. She always came whenever I was about to die. Is she death? A forgotten lover from another life? I don't know either. As time passed, I began to fall in love with her. The reason? Because no matter how terrifying the dream, she always tried to save me. Even in the moments when I felt my life slipping. I could see it in her eyes. She cared. But then, the question hit me. Why do I always die whenever she appears? What if her presence wasn't to save me, but to mourn me? Slowly, I started pulling my feelings away, piece by piece. I stopped reaching for her in the dreams. I stopped trusting the comfort she gave. Then one night, she appeared again, but this time, I didn't die. She looked happy. She smiled, cradled my head gently in her lap, humming a tune I swear I've never heard, but somehow knew. Yet something felt wrong. There was no danger, no chaos. She barely spoke. And just before I woke up, she whispered one word, 16. That number has haunted me ever since. She disappeared for 2 months now, and I don't even know why her absence bothers me more than her presence ever did, or why that cursed number still echoes in my mind every time I try to sleep. So I tried figuring out what that 16 meant. Does it mean the months I have left? The years? Or did she just say that number randomly? Each night I searched for answers, but the more I thought about it, the heavier the air around me felt, like something was quietly waiting. Then yesterday, without any reason, she appeared again, but without her caring face. This time, her eyes were cold, empty, like she didn't recognize me at all. She stood silently in the corner of my room, watching, as if she was waiting for something I couldn't understand. I tried getting closer to her. It was such a random dream, nothing around us, just me and her. I talked to her longer than usual, but she didn't respond. But then, this time, she murmured something, 14. And suddenly, I woke up. Is it some kind of countdown? Wait. The lower the number gets, the more time I get to spend with her in my dreams. I'm kind of excited about what will happen when it reaches 1 or 0. Why am I even thinking things like this? 3 months have passed. I dreamt of her again, but this time, I was overjoyed knowing. I can see her again, but my happiness disappear in an instant. There I saw her. She said the number first, 10. The sound of it lingered in the air, heavy and unnatural, like it didn't belong in the dream at all. I thought my worries would fade now that I understood the number's meaning. That maybe this was a gift, more time with her, more moments to hold on to. And for a while, I was overjoyed just to see her again, standing there in that pale dress that seemed to glow faintly against the darkness. But then I noticed something. Her smile didn't reach her eyes anymore. They stayed fixed, cold, like glass that reflected me but didn't truly see me. I called her name, or at least the one I had given her, but she didn't react. Instead, she kept repeating the same word in a whisper. 10, 10, 10. Each time softer, each time closer, until her breath felt like it was crawling against my ear. The dream twisted. The empty space around us shifted into a corridor, narrow and endless, its walls damp and pulsing as if alive. She walked ahead without looking back, her figure swaying with unnatural grace. I followed, not because I wanted to, but because my body moved on its own. The silence grew unbearable, broken only by the faint echo of water dripping somewhere far away. Finally, she stopped in front of a door, a massive, blackened door covered in deep scratches, as though something had tried desperately to claw its way out. She turned to me then, her eyes empty voids, her face blank of all warmth. Her lips parted, trembling, as if forcing out the word hurt her. 10. And in that moment, I realized the number wasn't a blessing. It was a warning. I woke up gasping, my hand still tingling as if the frozen iron handle had followed me out of the dream. Sweat clung to my skin, my chest heavy with a weight I couldn't name. The room was silent, but the echo of her whisper, 10, still lingered. My heart raced as I stumbled out of bed, the image of that massive blackened door carved into my mind. I tore through my desk drawers, old journals, even the dusty boxes stacked in the corner, searching for anything, any symbol, any memory that resembled it. The silence of the room felt oppressive, pressing against my skull as though the dream hadn't ended at all. I flipped through sketches I didn't remember drawing, pages filled with crooked lines and jagged shapes, until one sketch stopped me cold. There it was, the door. The same scratches, the same warped frame. My hand shook as I traced the lines, realizing it was dated months ago, long before I ever dreamed of it. My breath hitched, panic twisting into dread. How could I have drawn it? And why did the words scrawled beneath the sketch read the same thing she whispered? 10. I couldn't breathe. The number pulsed in my skull, louder with every heartbeat. 10, 10, 10. My eyes darted around the room, searching for something, anything, that could explain it. The sketch trembled in my hands, the scratches on the door seeming to move under my gaze. A sick realization clawed at me. I wasn't supposed to wait. I was supposed to open it. My nails dug into the paper as laughter bubbled out of me, broken and raw. I had to find the door. I had to, because if I didn't, she would never come back. That night, I tried to force myself back to sleep, clinging to the hope of seeing her again, of finding the door in my dreams. But no matter how many times I closed my eyes, sleep refused to come. The hours stretched endlessly. Every creak of the house feeding my restless thoughts, I lay there in the dark, whispering the number to myself, like it was a prayer that could drag me back into that world. 10, 10, 10. Days passed, then weeks, each night an exhausting battle with myself. My body grew weaker, my mind frayed, yet the dream never returned. By the time a month had passed, I could barely tell reality from waking delirium. Finally, when the dream did return, I found myself in the familiar void once again, but this time, she wasn't there, only silence, pressing heavier than ever before. The void stretched endlessly, but this time I didn't stand still. I forced myself forward, step after step, until the nothingness shifted and the corridor appeared again, narrow, damp, its walls quivering like the inside of something alive. My pulse pounded in my ears as I approached the blackened door. It loomed larger than before, its surface covered in carvings I hadn't noticed last time, twisted faces, mouths open in silent screams. Clawing hands etched deep into the iron as if trapped inside. The scratches weren't just random, they formed symbols, crude shapes that almost pulsed with a faint red glow. I gripped the handle, but it burned with a searing cold that forced me back. The carvings seemed to shift, the mouths widening, teeth jagged and sharp. A whisper crawled from the cracks, dozens of voices speaking in unison. To open, you must feed us. The faces twisted, waiting. I returned to the dream again. The void pulled me toward the door as if it had been waiting. This time, I examined the carvings more closely, twisted heads stacked on top of one another, their mouths frozen mid-scream. My fingers brushed the wood, rough, cold, like dried bone. Then I saw it, a faint mark at the bottom corner, the number 16. Below it, a line through 15, another through 14, and more, all the way down to 10. My chest tightened. These weren't random numbers. They were being kept here, recorded. I stood before the blackened door again, its surface colder, heavier than the last time. The stacked heads sneered at me in silence. Their empty eyes dared me closer. As my hand drifted along the wood, I noticed something I hadn't before, rows of etchings carved deep into the frame. 6 stood clear, gruesome, precise, a figure drowning, a man's chest impaled, fire consuming a body, a shadow dragging someone into the void, collapsing stone crushing bone, a faceless thing standing triumphant over the broken. Each one struck me with sick familiarity. Flashes of dreams I couldn't explain, moments where she had appeared, pulling me back from death. But beside them, there were more. 10 additional carvings stretched upward, every one of them gouged to ruin. Ragged claw marks tore through the wood, leaving only jagged scars where images should have been. I squinted, tried to trace them. Nothing. They refused to form anything I could understand. At the center, a half-formed carving waited, A kneeling figure, arms outstretched. Something offered in its palms. My heart raced. Was this the key? Was this how to feed the door? The door trembled. Then darkness swallowed me whole. I stood before the door again. The void pressed down heavier than ever. The carvings looked sharper, crueler. 6 scenes lined the frame. Drowning, fire, collapse, blade, shadow, faceless horror. Above them, 10 more carvings, clawed out, unreadable. But my eyes locked on the one at the center. A man kneeling, hands outstretched, palms cupped like a vessel. It wasn't blood. It wasn't flesh. I felt it in my bones. What the door wanted was memory. Her face burned in my mind. Soft, saving me every time I should have died. No, she wasn't protecting me. She was showing me what had to be given. I clasped my hands, just like the carving. My whisper cracked. Take it. Take what's mine. The door quivered. The carved heads twisted, mouths stretching wide into grotesque grins. Then came the tearing. Cold, brutal, unstoppable. Something ripped through my skull, claws digging deep, dragging it into the void. I screamed, but no sound came. And then, it was gone. Everything from birth until my 4th year. My first words. My first steps. Laughter. Love. Erased. A hole in my life where my foundation once was. The heads grinned wider. Some shook, as if laughing at me. I staggered back, clutching my head. No, that wasn't enough. My voice cracked into sobs. Then anger. Then silence. Madness spiraled through me. Paranoia. Regret. Grief. For something I couldn't even remember. Only feel the absence of. My sacrifice was real. My loss permanent. And still, the door remained shut. I woke up gasping, chest tight, sweat slick on my skin. Something inside me was missing. A hollow ache that made my head spin. Panic clawed at my throat as I tried to remember, tried to feel, but the earliest years of my life were gone. Erased. Anger bubbled up, raw and bitter. At myself for trusting the door. At the world for being indifferent. At the girl I didn't fully understand. Regret and grief tangled, a knot of shame that cut deeper the more I thought. And madness. Madness whispered at the edges, a constant gnawing that wouldn't let me rest. The morning light bleeding through my curtains felt cruel. My room was the same. Old posters, the hum of the fan, books stacked on the desk, but I wasn't. I stumbled through breakfast. My mom's voice was just noise, my dad's questions a blur. Even my little sister's teasing felt like nothing. I laughed when I was supposed to, muttered when I needed to, but my mind screamed with absence. At campus, it was worse. The chatter of students, lockers slamming, shoes scuffing the floor, it was all too much. I couldn't focus, couldn't breathe. In class, my pen moved on its own, doodling her face in the margins. The number 9 scrawled over and over until it swallowed the page. The professor's words blurred into nothing. And then, hey, a voice cut through. My friend Renz, grinning as always, leaned close. Cafeteria. Come on, man. You look like you need sugar in your system. I froze. My hand trembled, still hovering over her face on the page.
Please double tap if you like the story so far.
Before I could, Mara dropped her bag on my desk with a thud. Yeah, you've been zoning out all week. We are not letting you skip. Come eat. Their persistence clawed at me. Didn't they understand? She was out there, waiting, or maybe slipping further away. That number still hung over me like a blade. My chest tightened, heat rising. Just leave me the hell alone. The words tore sharper than I intended, echoed in the classroom. Their faces shifted, confusion, then hurt. Renz opened his mouth, shut it again. Mara's brow furrowed. She wanted to argue, chose silence instead. The guilt hit immediately, but it twisted with something darker. Paranoia, disappointment, a gnawing longing. I wanted to see her again. Needed to, just to confirm she was still real. Yet I hated myself for wanting it, for needing her presence like a drug. My emotions tangled. Cry, scream, vanish. I slumped in my seat. They walked away. Voices low. Leaving me behind.